Hey, it's me again. I had to split up with the last video, so I'm going to continue here with my list of symptoms that I created for seeing the doctor next week. I'll just list them and maybe explain a few of them. So I have pain in my knees, hips, shoulders, thighs. Actually, it's just one shoulder, but both my thighs, my back, and I also have sciatic nerve pain, but I don't know if that's caused by chronic fatigue. Foot and hand pain too. I get headaches on and off every single day, and they're at the temples of my head, not always both at the same time, and sometimes at the base of my skull too. And I don't know if it's related to the headaches because it's not always at the same time, but I have a lot of dizziness sometimes. I get sick with colds and the 24-hour flu all the time. I don't know. It's been as bad as having repeated colds one after another for probably a month before, because you get one and then either it's the same one that continues, or you finally get better and then you get smacked with another one. I have a lot of problems with my memory. My memory is terrible, and it's called brain fog, but that doesn't really tell you about what it is. I normally have problems remembering. I can remember things that happened a long time ago if I've talked about them a lot or thought about them a lot. But things a long time ago that just happened, like random days of my life, I can't really remember anymore. And then stuff that just happened, like my short-term memory, is awful. That's why I have to take notes. I have to write a lot of things down, and especially in my classes, I have to take lots and lots of notes. I have to write down everything that I hear, or I will not remember it. And then I have a lot of trouble thinking about keeping up with conversations, I guess, and thinking of the next thing that I'm going to say or the next word that I'm going to say. You guys know that. It's pretty funny sometimes, actually, but it's really frustrating. It makes me feel bad when I'm talking to people. People don't want to talk to me. There was one other memory thing I wanted to say. I don't know. I have just general confusion sometimes. That's not very often, but sometimes. If I push myself too, okay, this is an obvious thing, but it's something that I'm going to have to tell my doctor. If I push myself too hard mentally or physically, I'm just all over tired through the next day or the next week, or sometimes longer than that, depending on what I've done. So, if I'm up an hour later than normal, except I'm studying, for instance, I would probably be completely dead the next day, and then probably tired the day after that. If I were to go run a mile, I think I would be bedridden for 2 or 3 weeks. Actually, with some other body problems that I have had in the past, I actually haven't run a mile since the 6th grade. That's 7 years ago. So I don't even remember what that's like, but I remember it was an awful, terrible, exhausting experience, and I didn't even have ME then, and I wasn't sick or anything then. So yeah, I'm a pretty fit person, but I'm not cardio, that type of fit. I don't do extreme exercise. I do yoga. That's my exercise. I'm constantly exhausted and sleep doesn't help. That's an obvious point too. I don't know if it's different than anyone else, but I wake up, right when I wake up, my alarm goes off, I jump out of bed and go turn it off, and then as soon as I realize that I'm awake, I'm like, ugh, why did I use that energy to even get out of bed? And then I kind of get used to the feeling as I'm getting ready for the day, and then I kind of go on with my day as long as I haven't had any type of crashing. I have some sleep issues, but they're not extreme. I just put minor insomnia here because I take forever to fall asleep, because I have anxiety too. That's also minor, but it's just enough to keep me from falling asleep. And then sometimes I can sleep through the night Actually, that's pretty rare. And I can wake up a couple times sometimes, but if I get into the habit of waking up, then I wake up like 5, 7, 10 times a night for a long time in a row. It kind of, I don't know, it comes all together. I have some irritable bowel syndrome symptoms. That was hard to say. I have some speech issues too, and that started just when I've had ME, and I've never heard anyone talk about that before. So if you guys have ME and you have some kind of talking issue, like just the muscles in my mouth don't want to move right sometimes. So yeah, that's there. But I didn't write that down here. Maybe I should. But for IBS, it's not like full blown at all. It's just a little bit. I listed later that I think I might be lactose intolerant, and that's definitely been since ME. And I know ME can cause like random allergies and sensitivities, so that's why I wrote that down. And I also wrote down that I'm suddenly allergic to cats for some reason, but I've had cats all my life. I see an allergist, so we're kind of figuring that out. And so back to what I was actually talking about. IBS, if I eat certain things, like especially things that are really oily or things that have milk in them, like I can have like a little bit of cheese, that's okay. But if I eat a lot of cheese or if I drink any milk at all, or I don't know what else, if I eat like some super weird kind of food that I've never had before, sometimes that can cause it. I just get like kind of digestive pain and like bloating. Bloating is something that happens sometimes, and then I have had a lot of just like random diarrhea, except it's not like the kind of diarrhea that you have when you're sick. It's just like a little bit of a loose stool, but it's uncomfortable and it's not fun. My vision has gotten so much worse, and it was hard to track this at first, but actually just the other day when I was writing this list, I was able to figure out my timeline, and I checked back on my records of eye appointments. My prescription nearly doubled in the farsightedness that I have right about like the first appointment that I had since I had that first viral infection. It was like a few months after, and so that is insane. And then also just recently I discovered that I'm nearsighted as well, so I'm having more and more trouble like seeing things up close. It's not horrible, but it's annoying. Depression and anxiety, I kind of mentioned that already a little bit. I have been previously diagnosed with, actually not diagnosed, I don't think. I don't know, but I talked to a doctor once about the possibility that I might have depression, and a lot of the symptoms that I described, now that I think about it, go exactly into ME, plus all the other ME symptoms, and depression is a symptom of ME, so that works. And also, with getting either diagnosed or not diagnosed with depression, there are some of the main depression symptoms that are like missing for it to be actual like major depression. I'm super temperature sensitive. I get cold and hot so easily, and if I get hot, that makes me a lot more tired than if I'm cold. So I normally tend to keep things a little bit on the cold side, and then I just wear lots of clothes. I already mentioned some of that stuff. I nap a lot. I probably sleep in naps 6 to 14 hours per week, depending on the week, obviously, but that's probably just the average. I have my whole lower body, like hips down, is just weak. I have like all the pains that I listed before, but that is just weak. Like I can't, it's not that I can't stand for a long time, but my legs get kind of weak and shaky if I do, and I can't do too much walking. I can't squat and stand back up. I wear knee braces. I can show them. They're kind of hard to see, but I've had problems with my knees before I had ME, and then when I got ME, it got 1,000 times worse. Like, literally 1,000 times worse. No joke. I already said that I'm always cold, actually. I have occasional nausea issues. it's not always, and it kind of comes in spurts, I guess. Like, I'll not have it for a while, and then I'll have it for a while, and then I won't, and then I will. And then the last thing that I had was that I can't read for more than 20 to 30 minutes without breaks. But that has improved because when I wrote that, I remembered that I said in a previous video that I wasn't able to read for more than 10 minutes without breaks. So that's good, especially since I need to read a lot for school. I'm going to end this video now because it's really long, and yeah, so I'll see you next time.